Republicans break their promises to the American people. In other highly predictable, not breaking news, water is still wet, and J.D. Vance continues to demand a thank you. This is just another day. Throughout last year's presidential campaign, Donald Trump and his supporters had a slogan they just loved to repeat.
Promises made, promises kept.
Promises made, promises kept.
Promises made, promises kept.
Promises made, promises kept. Sounds great, and also probably looks great when your grandma sews it into a pillow. But now that Trump's been in office a few months, let's check in with the Promise Keeper in Chief.
I will immediately bring prices down starting on day one.
Day one, prices are going to drop faster than the speed of Matt Gaetz' car when he's driving past a high school. So how's that going?
Car buyers could be paying $3,000 to $10,000 more because of proposed tariffs under President Trump.
One item that is likely to get more expensive under Trump's tariffs on China might be on your hand right now as we speak. We're talking about an iPhone.
As a consumer, how could my grocery shopping experience change?
You might have to switch from some foreign-made products to U.S.-made products. If brie cheese, maybe you'll go to U.S. If you're getting a Chianti from Italy, maybe you'll switch over to Washington State.
Yeah, I think Americans are about to get a whole lot less concerned about where their alcohol comes from. They just want gallons of it to forget what's going on. So the price of cheese, wine, iPhones, and new cars are all gonna rise. You know what? True patriots are fine with that. There is nothing more American than enjoying some boxed wine and American cheese while chilling in the bed of a pickup truck that you already own. Who needs a new car anyway?
Many buyers will likely be priced out of the market and opt to hold on to the cars they already own. But when they go to pay for repairs, the price of parts, you guessed it, will be rising as well.
Yep. Turns out, for Trump's tariff policies to hurt you, you don't even need to be shopping for a car, you just have to drive one. But don't stress about how much your car repairs are going to cost, because there's some good news today when it comes to the holy grail of consumer goods, the pinnacle poultry product, the price of eggs.
Prices are down, groceries are down, eggs, which you hit me so hard, I'll never forget the first week in office, they were screaming at me about eggs. I said, what's going on with eggs? They were doubling and tripling. I said, I just got here. They were up like double, triple, and you couldn't get any. They said, you won't have eggs for Easter. Well, you can have all the eggs you want. We have too many eggs. In fact, if anything, the prices are getting too low.
Oh, yeah, no, prices are getting too low. Tell you what, why don't we keep the prices low, but paint them gold so Trump thinks they're fancy? Seems to work on everything else for him. But hey, egg prices are way down, which is cool, and also, it is absolute bullshit.
Egg prices have climbed above the $6 a dozen mark to yet another record high. A dozen large grade A eggs cost about $6.23 in March, up from $5.90 in February, and the March price was more than double from a year ago, according to data in yesterday's Consumer Price Index.
And just in time for Easter, prices and Jesus are rising. Pretty good synergy, if you ask me. It's funny, I'm not hearing a single word from Republicans about how expensive all those Easter meals are going to be when I seem to recall them giving the previous president a lot of shit about the cost of food on another holiday.
This year, as a result of Bidenomics, Thanksgiving trimmings refer instead to the items being cut from the menu due to rising prices.
And now Americans are about to sit down to the most expensive Thanksgiving in history.
Seems like the Easter Bunny caught their tongues. Also, hate to be this guy, but I think some other people definitely paid a higher price for Thanksgiving. But we've got expensive groceries, expensive phones, expensive cars. All the prices are going up. At least we've got housing under control from the king of the New York City skyline himself.
I have been a builder my entire life. I understand the problem, and I will fix it. I know how to fix it. Nobody else is going to figure it out. My objective will be to cut the cost of building a new home by 30 to 50%, and much of it is regulation.
Yeah, I think you know where this one's going.
Materials, labor, land, and finances. All things you need to build a property. But with tariffs, some of these are becoming more difficult to get and even more difficult to afford. The The expert I spoke with says all the uncertainty brought upon by tariffs is leaving investors, builders, and buyers second-guessing their next move, creating a domino effect for the housing market.
Trump is like King Midas, except everything he touches turns to shit, but he swears it's still gold. So basically King Midas's publicist. Okay, Trump has broken his pricing promises since coming into office. Not really his fault. Only a handful of everyone could have predicted what was going to happen when he got all giddy with his tariffs. But you know what? Donald Trump is more than a mere price negotiator anyway. He is the world's peacekeeper.
Before I even arrive at the Oval Office, shortly after I win the presidency, I will have the horrible war between Russia and Ukraine settled. It would have never happened.
Dude loves to box himself in with a timeline, doesn't he? Before I even arrive at the Oval Office, 12 seconds after the polls close on election day, with the sending of a single emoji, I will stop the war in Ukraine. But since making that ludicrous statement, Trump has belittled Zelensky in the Oval Office, tried to force Ukraine's hand into signing a deal with the US that lacked any binding security assurances, and consistently tried to change the narrative on the entire conflict itself by asserting that both sides are to blame for a war that Putin started. Well, today, Secretary of State Marco Rubio gave us an update on Trump's high-level negotiations.
So we came here yesterday to sort of begin to talk about more specific outlines of what it might take to end the war, to try to figure out very soon, and I'm talking about a matter of days, not a matter of weeks, whether or not this is a war that can be ended. If it can, we're prepared to do whatever we can to facilitate that and make sure that it happens, that it ends in a durable and just way. If it's not possible, if we're so far apart that this is not going to happen, then I think the president's probably at a point where he's going to say, well, we're done.
We're done? So Trump has gone from, I will have the war settled, to, fuck it. I'm kidding, actually. Trump spoke about this today and was much more of a dick.
Now, if for some reason one of the two parties makes it very difficult, we're just going to say you're foolish, you're fools, you're horrible people, and we're going to just take a pass. But hopefully we won't have to do that.
The level of bile is truly astonishing sometimes. You're foolish, you're fools, you're horrible people. Trump can't attempt even an ounce of decency when he's talking about pulling support from a war-torn nation and fellow democracy. Donald Trump and Republicans promise the world to their supporters, and they don't live up to any of it. They campaign on assurances of some utopian wonderland where every car will be made in America, cost $5 to drive, and you'll get to park it in your driveway of your dream home that you can buy for half the price of your car. The sad truth is, Donald Trump made tons of promises when he ran a decade ago, and none of that shit got done either. Infrastructure law? Never happened. Manufacturing jobs? Nope. The unbelievable healthcare plan that was going to be bigger and better for everyone? Nothing. The border wall? Still not finished. Hell, he promised to lock up Hillary Clinton. He couldn't even do that. By the way, I'm not advocating for the former Secretary of State to be imprisoned. I'm just illustrating a point. The reality is that Donald Trump will sell his supporters on these pie-in-the-sky ideas when he needs something, namely their votes, and yet abandon them the second he actually has power to wield. Not because he can't deliver if he wanted to. Of course he can. Trump and his Republican Party will take whatever they want. Even if it's outright in defiance of the U.S. Constitution, still they barrel ahead. It's that they don't want to. Remember that part. If Trump wanted to, he could. Trump loves to brag about how he can make the impossible happen because he's had experience negotiating since the day he was born.
My whole life has been one big negotiation.
Yup, Trump has been negotiating with the truth his entire life, and yet the facts just keep winning. Before you go, if you enjoyed this content and you want to see more and support independent media, please subscribe to this channel. The subscribe button will be right here on the screen. But second, the reality is that we are now in a political environment where this administration can lean on any of the social media platforms to suppress certain voices if they don't like critical coverage. That means my longevity here is in the hands of a few tech billionaires who are already making it clear that they are willing to cater to this administration. To that end, signing up for my newsletter is a way for me to reach you directly if that ever becomes necessary. I'll put the link right here on the screen as well, so please sign up. It's free, but there's also an option to do a paid subscription if you'd like to support me and my team. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching.